This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Hello friends, my name is Lexi and today we will be freaking out about all of the books I haven't read yet. Grab your Starbucks. My name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a really fun video because we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. This is like a staple of BookTube. It's the only tag, I think aside from like the end of the year tag, that I do every single year. And it is so much fun because basically you get to watch me have an existential crisis. Sounds interesting at least. By the way, today I'm drinking an iced chai. Iced chais are my new obsession from Starbucks with oat milk. Amazing. So basically, if you are unfamiliar with the mid-year book freakout tag, it is a series of questions where I get to tell you my favorite books of the year, my biggest disappointments of the year, and I get to tell you all of the books that I wish that I had read, but I haven't read yet. But before we go ahead and get started, I would like to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring and creative classes for anyone who loves learning. Skillshare's classes range from animation to graphic design, productivity to music and creative writing, and that's just to name a few subjects. I'm currently taking a class right now taught by Roxane Gay, author of Bad Feminist, and this class is a creative writing class titled Creative Writing: Crafting Personal Essays with Impact. In her course, Roxane Gay goes over developing key ideas, how to conduct thorough research, writing, revising, and even the ins and outs of getting published. And I've been really enjoying her class because my background is actually just in creative writing for fiction. That was my undergrad, but I don't really have a lot of experience in learning about creative writing for nonfiction. And I love her personal take on personal essays. I feel like it's really getting me excited to explore this whole new medium of writing, and I really highly recommend it if you love writing as well. I could not recommend Skillshare enough for anyone who is interested in learning something new, in exploring their creativity, or also in connecting with an incredible community of other people who are looking to expand their horizons, learn new subjects, and also get creative. And if you are interested in learning more about Skillshare, I have all of the information down below. So the very first 1,000 people to use my link down below will get a month free trial of Skillshare for yourself so that you can start exploring your creativity today. Thank you again so much to Skillshare. All of the links will be down below in the description. So if you're interested, I highly recommend checking them out. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and get back to the video. Oh, by the way, I will go ahead and link the original creator if I can find the video, as well as all of the questions down below. So if you would like to try this yourself, or if you would like to answer in the comments, please feel free to do so. I would love to know your answers. But okay, let's start with question number 1, which is the best book you've read so far in 2022. Can you believe we are in 2022? Yikes. Okay, so this is actually kind of tough because while I've read some books that I didn't like so much this year, I've also read quite a few books that I have loved this year, and one of them is Finlay, Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. So this is a book that I knew I would like, but I didn't realize how much I would like it until I started reading it. And once I started reading it, quite frankly, I couldn't stop. This is a book all about Finlay Donovan, and Finlay is a single mom who can't seem to get it together. She's a struggling writer and she writes thrillers. She has like no one to watch her kids while she goes to meet with her agent at Panera. She ends up meeting her agent though, and while she is there, she describes the next book, and she describes how one of her characters is basically going to get killed off, or why she's struggling to kill off her main character. And she's saying all of this as a writer, right? Except somebody overhears and thinks that she is a hit woman, and they then hire her to kill that woman's husband. And so now we get to see Finlay Donovan kill it. And by kill it, I mean kill people. It sounds dark, but it's actually way more of a comedy than like something sort of like For Your Own Good, which in my opinion read a lot more as like a dark humor type of a comedy. This is just like commercial quality. Like I really feel like this would sell so well and like be such a great hit as a movie. It was absolutely flawless flawlessly executed. I loved the audiobook for this as well. And I just really, really enjoyed my time reading Finlay, Donovan is Killing It. I feel like this might be my favorite book of the year. I'm not sure though. We'll see. Okay, question number 2. What is the best sequel I have read this year in 2022? And this was another one that was really hard because I loved Electric Idol, which I read this year. I also loved basically every single book in the Fence graphic novel series. But ultimately, I had to give it to Shauna McGuire with Where the Drowned Girls Go. This is the next book in her Wayward Children series. In my opinion, I think this is the best possibly. Like, I'm very nostalgic for the very first book, which is Every Heart a Doorway, and I absolutely loved Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I love that one too. I loved all of them. But this one I just feel had so many wonderful quotes, so many beautiful lines, and also so much of like a pack to all of the messages and metaphors, in my opinion. This series is following like a group of kids, and the kids have all gone to other worlds, and then when they come back, they kind of struggle with our reality, and they end up going to a school called Eleanor West's Wayward School for Children. And basically, it's a place where all of these kids who have gone off to different places can come and kind of feel safe waiting for like another door to open up to their own worlds, because they want to go back to Wonderland and Neverland and Narnia, you know? Like, who wouldn't? But in this book, we are following Cora, who has gone to 2 worlds. One is her world, and the other is the world where there are these things called the drowned gods, and she wasn't really supposed to go to that world. And now the drowned gods want her back, and they are continuously like haunting her. And she's like, you know what, I'm out. Okay, I love magic, I love my own world, but like, I just want to be left to the alone from these people. And like, fair, Cora, fair. So she asks Eleanor to send her to a totally different school. And this school basically is trying to convince her and all of the other kids that they never actually went to another world, that this is the only reality, and that they have to try to be normal, because she is ready to try anything to kind of like shut out this world. And it's very good. It's very impactful. There's a lot of metaphor in here that I personally picked up for just a lot of things, and I don't want to like spoil it. I think you should go into it. I think it's a great book. I love it so much. It's definitely one of the top books I've read this year as well. Yes. Okay, question number 3 is a new release that I haven't read yet, but that I want to. And I have 3 here. I will briefly hold them up. The first one is Family of Liars. This is a We Were Liars like sequel, I think, or I think it's technically the prequel, but you have to read We Were Liars first. I loved We Were Liars. It's all about a very, very wealthy family who goes to an island that they own. Talk about some like serious money there. They own an island off the coast of New England, and they're all very pretentious. They're all lying about things. They're all pretending to be perfect. And We Were Liars is the summer where a lot of bad things kind of go down. So if you love like plot twists and family dramas and like a little potential like surrealism sprinkled in, you'll probably love it. And this is the prequel. So we're following all of the like Sinclair's parents when they were kids. I hope that makes sense. I'm really excited about it. I love the first book. I have high hopes. Next up is a book I've talked about a lot. It's called Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. This is an adult fantasy, and it's all about a girl who goes to an island because she has just inherited this large house and a lot of money, and the island has a lot of magic. It's sapphic, but that's all I know. And it also has apparently like Great Gatsby vibes. I'm excited to read this, hopefully this summer. And then the final book that I definitely want to get to, and it has just been released like this year, is Hotel Magnifique. This is another YA book, and this is about a hotel that kind of is giving me like Night Circus vibes. It can travel, and it can appear and disappear in different parts of the world, and apparently once you're in this hotel, magical things happen, and it's about 2 sisters who try to get a job at this hotel. What's not to love, you know? Okay, question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I have a lot, but I will just mention 2. The first one is Babel. This is a dark academia book, but it's also a fantasy. That's all I know. It looks like a thick book, and I actually really want to do like an entire reading vlog just dedicated to reading this, or like maybe reading this and then other dark academia books. I cannot wait to read this. And then the second one is a book called Sirens and Muses. First of all, like what caught my attention was the cover. I am a sucker for covers that look like this. It is so beautiful. All I know about this is it's adult. I think it's supposed to be kind of like literary fiction. It is a campus novel, but I don't know if it's dark academia. I want to say it is, but I'm not sure. But it's following 2 girls who become roommates. Okay.
And they were roommates.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
And while they're roommates, I think they develop feelings for each other. All I know is that they're like pushing each other in their degree, which is like art. So it's all about like art and friendship turned into love, but also how that love becomes toxic and obsessive. And you know what? It sounds like a good time, okay? Question number 5, what was your biggest disappointment of the year? I'm gonna say 2 books. The first one is The Divines. I read this in a vlog. I really thought this was gonna be like a favorite book of mine because it sounded really, really good, but I actually I wanna give it like a 1 star. It's probably more like a 2 star. There's nothing like problematic in it. I didn't like it. I felt like the writing was kind of pretentious, but I don't feel like it said anything. I don't know. I didn't really like it very much. It's about a girl who is reflecting back on her time at school, and it just wasn't for me, and that's okay. That's okay. And then the next book is going to be Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I am so glad that I decided to borrow this from the library instead of reading this. This caught my attention because look at the cover. It is so beautiful. It's kind of shiny, so I don't know if you can see that, but it is such a beautiful cover. However, this is not good. I'm so sorry. I had to DNF it. I tried to get to page 100 and I don't think it's well written. I never say that because, there's a book for everyone. And so if you love this book, then this book is for you. It's just not for me. Please don't take it personal. I wish I could love this book because I wanted to own it because it's one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen. It's a book that's following 2 people who meet, I think on New Year's Eve, Frank and also Cleo, and they go by Cleopatra and Frankenstein. The thing that I think was the hardest to get through was just the dialogue. It felt like they were both trying to be manic pixie dream girl kind of a deal. They were both trying to be the personification of the cool girl and the aloof older guy. And it felt kind of cliche. The dialogue felt so stiff. It did not sound at all how people would talk. I just really didn't like it. I don't know. I felt like it was not very good. It's following their relationship, but I just couldn't believe their relationship because I didn't see any chemistry and they felt really one-dimensional. They didn't feel like fully fleshed out characters. So yeah, I'm sorry. Question number 6, what is the biggest surprise that you've had this year? I have another 2 for this one. The first one is going to be Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. This is a book that I gave, oh my gosh, I don't remember if I gave 4 stars or 5 stars to it, but it was a very high rating for me. And the reason I was surprised about that is because I read Lucy Foley's other book, The Guest List, and I actually couldn't finish it because I didn't like it. But like I said in that particular video, it's not that I didn't like the book, the writing was very, very good. It's that I didn't like the characters. And so I was really, really surprised when I picked this book up because I was fully expecting to maybe not like it, but I ended up loving it. I thought it was so much fun. This is a book that is following Jess, and Jess is down on her luck and she goes to visit her brother who lives in Paris. But when she gets there, he is disappeared and all of his neighbors are acting sketchy as If you pick this book up, I highly recommend pairing it with the audio as it was a full cast and thoroughly enjoyable. And then my second biggest surprise is a book called Lattes and Legends. The reason I'm surprised about this is because I don't pick up a lot of self-published books, but I heard about this book from Book Talk. It was pitched as a high fantasy with low stakes. It's supposed to be like a cozy fantasy. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I ended up picking it up. It's all about an orc who opens up a coffee shop, and it's all about her opening up this coffee shop and the struggles that she faces, and it's so cozy, learning about the lattes and the coffee and the townspeople. I'm gonna be honest, like while it's not fully perfect, the vibes and the happiness that it made me feel was a 5-star. The reason I'm surprised is because I don't ever think to research indie and self-published books because there's so many books in general, like when I'm trying to find out what I want to read next. So sometimes like it can be really overwhelming and I stick to traditionally published, but this book is showing me that I need to research more indie press and self-published books because this book is like a hidden gem. And thank God that Book Talk kind of like brought it to my attention, or I would have missed out on like one of the coziest books I've ever read. Also, if you are interested in this book, I think it has just been picked up by Tor Publishing. So I think it's going to be traditionally published soon. And thank God for that, because like more more people need to read it. It is so good. But yeah, if you're out there and you're a reader, I would say try giving self-published books and also indie published books like a go. Go to Kindle Unlimited. There's some really good gems there. Question number 7, new favorite author. And I have 2 for this one. The first one is Talia Hibbert. And then the second one I think is going to be B.B. Alston. I loved both of these books so much. B.B. Alston wrote this incredible book called Omari and the Night Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of it. And it was so magical. This was such a whimsical, fantastic read, all about Amari, whose brother Quentin goes missing, and then she ends up getting invited basically to kind of like a summer camp that's also like kind of a secret society, and it basically trains children to be like magical, and some of them come from magical families. You know, just the writing was so solid that I would read anything from B.B. Alston. And then I freaking loved, take a hint, Danny Brown. Talia Hibbert's writing is like comedic gold. Everything in this flowed so well. The characters were so fully developed. Like sometimes you'll read a book and you'll really enjoy it, and you might even give it like 5 stars, but it still kind of feels like a book, right? Like it doesn't feel as come to life as other books. This book is like fully realized. I pictured this as a movie the whole time. Her writing is incredible because not only was it sexy and well done, but also it was funny. Like it was so funny. Like she really did it. She really did everything in this book series. So I can't wait to continue on in the book series. Love Talia Hibbert. I could not recommend her more. Question number 8, your newest fictional crush. That would be Arrows from Electric Idol. So I love this series. This series is by Katie Robert. This is a series that is basically a very loose retelling of like different Greek myths and gods. The first book in the series was Neon Gods, following Hades and Persephone. And while I think I preferred like the steamy scenes in that one, they were very steamy. I really loved the love interest in this one. His name is Arrows, and he's everything, okay? The trope in this one is kind of confusing. So it's following Eros and Psyche. It's kind of like a Romeo-Juliet situation. Their mothers hate each other and they're supposed to be like mortal enemies. And Eros' mom actually wants to kill Psyche, which is like a little extreme, okay, lady? And so Eros is like, well, the only way to protect her is if we get married, and then my mom will have to back off. Which like really works in the book, but like saying it now, it seems kind of weird. Question number 9, your new favorite character. And that is going to be every freaking character in this series. This is the Fence series. This is a YA graphic novel. I'm obsessed with it. I've talked about it basically in every single video since reading it. I'm sure everyone is sick of me talking about it, and like I apologize. I truly tried to like add variety. But it's my new favorite thing. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. So this series starts out following Nicholas, who is the illegitimate son of a world-class fencer. And Nicholas is trying his hardest to like become a better fencer than his dad, so he can be like, see dad, you suck for not giving me the time of day. But it ends up following like basically every member of this fencing team that he gets onto. And every single member is my favorite, okay? Like every single member is like incredible, funny, fully developed, amazing, like unique personality. You root for every person, every single person in the Fence series. You'll become obsessed with it. Like I highly recommend picking it up, okay? Question number 10, a book that made you cry. And that is going to go to The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, and this is by Zoraida Cordova. This has solidified my official love for magical realism. I am a big fan of magical realism, but like I hadn't ventured into adult literary fiction, magical realism. This is it. Like this made me cry. This like touched me. This moved me. I thought this was so beautiful in every single way. It's following Orquídea Divina, who is this woman who lives this incredible life. Half of the story is kind of following her life, and the other half is flipping back and forth to her grandkids who are inheriting some of her gifts and powers. And it's just so beautiful. It's so whimsical. It's so fantastical. It's kind of gross at times. It's a very gritty type of magic, but it was just so lovely. If you love magical realism and you haven't picked this up, I couldn't recommend it more. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Okay, question number 11, a book that made you happy. There are several books that have made me happy this year, but the one I had to choose for this is going to be Sourdough, or Lois and the Adventures in the Underground Market by Robin Sloan. This is just like a cute, cozy comfort read. I would put this in the same category as Legends and Lattes. Obviously that is fantasy and this is contemporary. So they're different in genre, but like in feel and in tone, they're very similar. This is just like a cozy, meandering comfort read, and I highly recommend it. I think it's so cute. This is following Lois, and Lois is kind of unhappy in her work, and she's kind of unfulfilled. And one day she is left a sourdough starter by these two men who she used to like order food from all the time as like a parting gift. And she ends up feeding the sourdough starter. It becomes kind of like her pet, and she learns to bake sourdough bread from it. It's just a story about Lois and this weird little sourdough starter, and it's worth reading. I really enjoyed it. Question number 12, what is the most beautiful book you have bought this year? And I am definitely going to say this particular copy of Pride and Prejudice. It is so beautiful. I feel like most people know the premise of Pride and Prejudice. It's a book that's like a hate to love following Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, and how they both come from different places and classes in life, and they end up falling in love despite kind of hating each other. And you know what? The illustrations just make it that much better. And then finally, question number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I actually made a video all about this. I made a video titled 22 books I want to read by the end of the year. And I, so far, am doing pretty okay. I've technically read 10 books from the list, but I still need to get to several more. If you want to know like the extent of all of the books I really want to read, I'll go ahead and like link the video up above and then also down below. But I'll just tell you a couple. I really want to read Under the Whispering Door. I really want to read Shadow of the Wind. I really want to read a Murakami book. I really want to read Hazel Bly by Ashley Herring Blake. Oh, and I definitely want to read 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. But I think you guys, that is it. Those are all the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag. Thank you for joining me in my book Existential Crisis. And before you go, I would love to actually hear from you. What is one book that you really want to read before the year is up? I would love to know down below in the comments. And if you have made it to this point in the video, please leave me any like emoji of your choice that reminds you of summer. And thank you again so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Once again, you can go ahead and use my link to get your very first 1-month trial free of Skillshare. I highly recommend if you are looking to explore and grow and expand your creativity today. All of the links will be down below in my description box. And I think you guys, that is everything. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love all of you so much. And until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book. And I will speak to you very soon. Bye.
Always think of you when spring comes, like it's something in the air at that time. Don't know why. Always dream of you when spring comes. It's like the heat